Hey guys, we got more bad news as far as the gun world goes in the Second Amendment. Um, Basically today in Connecticut, the Connecticut Supreme Court has now ruled by a 4-3 decision that Remington can in fact be sued by the victims of the Sandy Hook tragedy. So this is something that's been going on for a while. They've been trying to sue Remington for being held as, civilly liable in the deaths that were caused by some crazy person that shot the school, right? That shot up people in the school. And Remington has maintained their innocence the whole time, saying, look, we just made the gun. We never told anybody to do anything bad with it, which as far as I know is true. I don't see how an inanimate object can be held liable, or let alone the people that made it, for a person's conscientious wrongdoing and craziness. But unfortunately today, like I said, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the state of Connecticut, has decided yes, they can be civilly sued. And this is going to open up probably a whole door of lawsuits. People are going to try to use this as precedence and probably try to start suing all of the gun manufacturers anytime there was a shooting and their gun was involved. Or maybe this could go to ammunition or accessories. It could probably keep going. And here's the problem. There was a law put in place in 2005 called the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, the PLCAA. And that basically shields manufacturers and retailers from civil liability and lawsuits brought by victims of any type of shooting or any kind of harm that was done with the gun. And again, I'm afraid this could establish legal precedents. So even though Remington, a lot of people, don't really care for them, different things they've done, their quality hasn't been the best of recent years, I get all that. But look, Remington's already had to lay off a lot of employees. They've already filed for bankruptcy. They're already in a tough position. A lawsuit like this could literally take Remington down. And this goes along with bump stocks and everything else. It doesn't really matter if you like Remington or not, guys. The picture is much bigger than this. Your favorite gun manufacturer, who is most likely smaller than Remington, could now be sued anytime one of their guns are used in a crime or for violence or any death or civil injury is caused. Very slippery slope. These smaller companies could get sued out of existence almost instantly. So if they're able to take on a big company like Remington and take them down, even though there's federal law that prohibits this, this could be a problem. Your favorite gun maker could be gone very, very soon because of one senseless act of violence by a crazy person that nobody that worked at the Remington factory wanted to happen. Nobody that built those guns planned on building a tool that could cause death like this. That was never their goal, I'm sure of it. But now, with this 4-3 decision by the Supreme Court of the state of Connecticut, this could be bad. So what happens next? I don't know. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, I'm assuming the plaintiffs in the lawsuit are going to start firing up the lawsuit with their lawyers immediately. They're probably working on it right now. So the Supreme Court of the United States. Supreme Court of the United States has jurisdiction over federal laws, over lower federal courts, and also when a state Supreme Court becomes in conflict with a federal law. So the Supreme Court could hear this case. Now, I will say, from a statistic I read, it's pretty close to about 90% of the Supreme Court's cases that they choose to hear come from, lower courts, lower federal courts, so stuff that was brought up through the federal appeals process. And only about 10% of the cases the Supreme Court hears are them looking at whether a state Supreme Court has violated a federal law or whether it concurs with that law. So again, I don't want to make any predictions right now, but yes, the Supreme Court of the United States could look at the Connecticut Supreme Court's decision. Unfortunately for us, that seems to be the minority of the cases they choose to hear, and from what I've researched, it's going to be at the Supreme Court's sole discretion whether they will hear a case on this Connecticut Supreme Court decision. So look out, guys. It's not going to be looking good for Remington. I wish them the best of luck, and we're just going to have to see what happens now. Whether there's going to be dozens of lawsuits exploding in the next few days or not, I don't know. But I don't think this was a good thing today, guys. So just keep your eyes on this, see what's going on, and hopefully maybe the federal Supreme Court can overturn this and say that this is not going to be allowed to happen with the federal law that was enacted, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act. So let's hope that law will stand and the Supreme Court can correct this. But until then, not good news for gun manufacturers in general And if all the, listen guys, if all the gun manufacturers get sued out of existence, what good is our Second Amendment going to do us if we can't even buy guns? All right, guys, have a good one.